Day 2 of Najib Razak's SRC International trial was spent poring over bundles of documents, so much so that Najib brought 2 books with him for company and his favorite yellow cushion. The trial resumed today after a 12-day gap, and unlike the fanfare that surrounded Day 1, the court was quiet this morning.
Aras 5.
By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us in the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. Najib arrived in court at 9 a.m., his dark silver-grey tie complementing a black suit. This time around, there were no prayers or chants of Hidup Najib, and the 20-odd supporters from the first day had dwindled to 2. Before the trial started, Najib, seated at the dock, was reading one of the books he brought along, Dunia Tanpa Tembok by Aiman Rashdan Wong. The book, which translates to World Without Borders, is a 245-page red paperback comprising 50 articles on international geopolitics. Ayman posits that knowledge, language, and geography can help break down differences and bring together states and citizens in mutual cooperation. Najib was on the chapter The Ottoman-Malay Connection. The former Prime Minister, who is on trial for corruption, money laundering, and criminal breach of trust, also brought Helmi Effendi's Jangan Selewengkan Ekonomi Malaysia, which loosely translates to Don't Jeopardize the Malaysian Economy. Najib was seen taking every opportunity of a break to read. At times, he could be seen underlining some sentences with a pen. However, he was not allowed to read while court was in session. When he wasn't reading, Najib sat quietly in the dock. Every now and then, he looked down at his phone, occasionally even bent forward, resting his elbows on his knees. To give the case some context, this is how 42 million ringgit allegedly ended up in Najib's private coffers. SRC was a former subsidiary of 1MDB. It was formed on January 7, 2011 and was involved in energy investments. SRC and 1MDB severed ties in February 2012 to qualify for a 4 billion ringgit loan from the Retirement Fund Incorporated, or KWAP. KWAP is a statutory body which manages the pension scheme for Malaysia's civil servants. The public first heard about SRC when a 2015 Wall Street Journal report alleged that money flowed from the company into Najib's personal accounts. Between December 2014 and February 2015, SRC transferred 50 million ringgit to its subsidiary Gandingan Mentari, which then transferred the 50 million ringgit to Ihsan Perdana. Attorney General Tommy Thomas has identified Ihsan Perdana as SRC's corporate social responsibility partner. From Ihsan Perdana, 42 million ringgit was transferred into Najib's accounts at AmBank in 3 deposits of 27 million, 5 million, and 10 million ringgit. Muhammad Akmaluddin Abdullah, the witness from Day 1, was back to testify today. He is an assistant registrar of the Companies Commission of Malaysia. What followed was a tedious 2.5 hours of verifying company documents. Here's Yvonne from court.
So the greater part of the morning was spent going over dates on the documents produced by the prosecution's first witness, Akmaluddin. The documents were related to SRC International and Yayasan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, which is purportedly the charity arm of 1MDB. What Najib's lawyers did today was to try and show incongruity between the dates and details of the various documents for SRC and Yayasan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, which were filed at CCM, and try to discredit them.
The second witness who was called in was Bank Negara investigator Azizul Adzani Abdul Ghaffar. Azizul worked on cases under the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001 or AMLA. In 2015, he was called in to assist an investigation at AmBank's Rajachulan branch where he was handed 17 documents. This was yet another tiresome exercise in sorting through bundles of documents.
The second witness, Azizul, was shown 8 folders of documents containing account statements and letters of authorization that belonged to Najib. But midway through the prosecution's questioning, the defense took issue with the way the documents were arranged. The judge then called for a temporary recess which lasted more than an hour. While the documents were being sorted, Najib chatted animatedly with a supporter at the public gallery. But when they came back, the prosecution requested for the case to be adjourned because they didn't have enough time to photocopy and label all the documents accordingly.
And so, proceedings ended for the day with a stern reminder from Justice Muhammad Naslan who said, quote, "Please ensure the right sequence to avoid the same problems again," unquote. Najib exited the court smiling and even joked with photographers. We'll be back tomorrow for Day 3. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Supramaniam, Yapik Kwan and Yvonne Lim. Additional reporting by B.D. Hong and K.L. Chan. Other recordings from the court are by Ravin Palanisamy, Jeremy Singh and Hazmiza Hassan. I'm Patrick Teo.